All right, it's finally time I go over the e-commerce brand I built and scaled from 0 to 4.9 million within the span of 1 year. Now, don't get me wrong, the profit margins were absolutely horrible in terms of what I actually collected year to date because the entire time I was bulking, aka blitzing the market and handing off equity to my team. I was actually losing money for multiple months in the very beginning, but that was because I had a big end goal of selling the business and collecting as much revenue as humanly possible in order to get back as much data as possible. And of course, this wasn't all my doing. My entire team helped me launch this and scale it, so I'm not going to take all the credit here. But anyways, the point of this video is to give you a fully in-depth rundown on exactly what I did, who I hired and partnered with, step by step, so that you understand the end goal of dropshipping and why it's such a valuable tool. Okay, we only really dropshipped units in the very first month while testing 3 different product concepts against each other before buying a boatload of inventory from my agent over in China. And I think that's really important to distinguish, especially if you're a beginner just starting out, is that you need to understand that dropshipping is only a tool to establish proof of concept in the world of e-commerce. And it's useful if you go out of stock to prevent disputes. It's not efficient at high scale. And if somebody says it is, I'll just be straight up. They're probably lying to you. You need to open up margin and drop down COGS, cost of goods sold, past a certain point in order to scale. And that's really only going to happen if you're buying tens of thousands of dollars worth of inventory in batches, shipping it to a 3PL and negotiating deals with logistics. But outside of all this, I don't want to go too over your head. We always use dropshipping, of course, to feed the machine in the beginning. And the point of this video is to remind you of what's actually possible way later down the line if you're a beginner. Also, I can't show you the brand assets or even the product being sold because it's in contract currently and we don't want to ruin our chances of finding a buyer for this store, especially after it's sold. It's just going to move into NDA. So the only thing I can show you is some of the analytics alongside the general documentation we followed to build this brand in the beauty niche. Okay. Anyways, let's dive into this blueprint. And it's funny because I actually created this blueprint earlier this year for my team to follow internally, but since then I've just repurposed it for my personal brand and now giving it to you guys. But there's 3 pillars to this marketing ecosystem. Pillar number 1 goes over branding and pre-market research. Pillar number 2 is the launch and testing phase, going over our content system, paid acquisition system, CRO testing, etc. And lastly, pillar number 3 goes over scaling, both horizontally and vertically. But let's start off at pillar number 1 called bring new product to market. And essentially what I did here was located the market gap for the product I was selling. I found a high demand for a specific product without little to any competition in that space. I did my market research and ensured the product had these 4 variables, which are low saturation, competition, wow factor, 3 to 10x markup, and an ideal audience size of 50 to 100 million people. These were the 4 primary variables our brand checked off. And after doing this a billion times, you start to learn that if your product does not check off these variables, it's going to collapse. Next, in phase 2, I knew that we had to obviously be unique. So that's where branding genericization comes in. Essentially, this phase is all about creating a really catchy trademark name that would open up a new niche of products. For example, Kleenex for tissues, chapstick for lip balm, Band-Aid for bandages. Those are all brand names, not product names. And that's what we did with this beauty product we're selling. Okay. After this, we enter phase 3. And this is simply just private labeling the product and creating custom packaging. I use a private agent over in China, and I have a little mini office over there. So we're able to get the best deals on inventory for dropshipping for me and all of our partners and our clients. They do private labeling, custom packaging, and all that good stuff. So after the branding and the setup phase was complete in about 4 days, we moved into pillar number 2, which is the launch and testing. And within this first phase, it's all about content. Okay. Content is the ammunition and your brand is the gun. If you go into war without enough ammunition or faulty ammunition, you're gonna, I don't know, die. Okay. So I think that's a good analogy. That's why we set up organic content system as shown throughout here. In short, the brand partners with 5 to 10 UGC creators, assigning good old contracts, of course. We strategize the targeted audiences and the content styles, and then we just let the machine run. Okay. And after that, they start producing top tier content for us. And by top tier content, I mean top tier viral content. We push it out into social media daily with a social media manager and then a creative strategist at the top leading an army of UGC creators. And by letting this run, we're able to grow our socials rapidly upwards to 50,000 followers organically within a few months. Well, with paid ads as well. Combo of both, realistically speaking here. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. And honestly, this phase is extremely expensive, okay? We lost a lot of money creating all this content, but obviously having done this before, it pays out in the end. Content investment is the key. You just need to be willing to take heavier risk. And as a beginner, it sucks because if you don't know what you're doing, you could easily lose all of these funds. And I'm not going to go over all the tiny details. I have more content on my channel going over the specifics of all the different stages of e-commerce. So if you're finding value, go ahead and subscribe, like this video, and check out some other videos I've recently posted. But anyways, moving into phase 2, paid ads testing phase. So this is the 0 to 100K campaign framework on TikTok and Facebook. And when it comes to media buying, especially as we enter 2025, we only really set up 3 campaigns to hit 100K per month. And that's testing campaign, a scaling campaign, and a retargeting campaign on both TikTok and Facebook ads. As long as you set clear KPIs, you track everything properly, and you're hitting a 4 to 6x ROAS within the 100K a month range, that means you have potential to be hitting a $3 to $6 million business per year. It's a very clear KPI we now strive for. CPMs are going to range anywhere from $2 to $30, really just depends. Same exact thing with your CTR and your targeted audiences. 2 to 9%, and of course a $0.5 to $3 cost per click. That's to be expected. Now for tracking, we use True Profit on Shopify until later building out a custom system and moving off of Shopify, which we did once we hit about 2 million in revenue. But anyways, phase 3, CRO testing, and this is segmented into 2 categories of the business. We got offer testing, which means testing different sales, upsell, and cross-selling products, offers, and total pricing. And having a high AOV allows you to scale. Very, very important. Next, website optimization. And there's so many things here that operators on my team optimize for, like the page speed, page aesthetics, product media, checkout process, heat mapping, social proof, email and SMS marketing, copywriting, etc. This all leads to a higher conversion rate. And then lastly, pillar number 3, 100K to 1 million and beyond. And normally, what I've always done in my journey is stopped at around 1 million in sales because I couldn't figure out how to scale past that. There always seemed to be some sort of impossible variable preventing me from reaching the next level. And there was, but I learned that in order to actually scale past 1 million, at least from my perspective and my experience, is you need to master market and product research. And what I mean by that is that you need to better position yourself in the market to hit levels that you want to hit past a certain level. It's all about timing. Okay. And pillar number 1 here is enhancing your product and adding customizations to it in order to isolate your brand, buying inventory and shipping to a 3PL, of course, to lower COGS, cost of goods sold, fulfillment optimization through logistics, negotiation, and then lastly, launching new SKUs. When you expand the product line, it's like one of those most brain dead, easiest ways to scale that a lot of people forget about. Okay. Sometimes we do so much trying to figure out how to make one product work, but sometimes you just have to hit your cap. You need to expand your product line. Next here is reach expansion. So pushing into new platforms like Google Ads, Snapchat, Pinterest, influencer marketing, etc. This right here allowed us to unlock around 30 to 40% more scale outside of Facebook and TikTok. Same goes with expanding into European countries, primarily Scandinavian countries like Iceland, Poland, Denmark, Sweden, etc. And then next is expanding audience segments, meaning just create different marketing campaigns for different demographics and interests outside of what, we knew was possible. Influencer promotions did great for brand rep and conversions, but not necessarily reach. Growing SEO likewise, same thing. And lastly, advanced media buying. So essentially just firing our old media buyer and hiring better talent led to more growth, all right? Lastly, pillar number 3, and the big proponent to the success of this brand alongside any other brand that's been successful in this world, VCOM at least, is being able to shut out competition. Trademarking your brand using an automated DMCA system to wipe out little pesky dropshippers like you. And of course, lastly, dominating organic traffic allowed us to remain as the number 1 brand selling this specific product on the market. So essentially, we brought the product into market, we sold everyone on it, and then we wiped out every competitor who tried to compete. Morally, right or wrong, doesn't matter. No one else was going to take market share unless they knew what they were doing and how to compete with us. And yeah, this covers the entire strategy doc we used internally when scaling this brand. Pre-exit, it pulled in around 1 million in profit, split amongst me and primarily my team to help build this out. And during exit, it's probably going to sell for another 1 to 2 million, considering this has been up for only a year. It'd be more if it was up longer, but yeah, I think that covers everything in this video. As a reminder, I have nothing to sell you. I just wanted to give YouTube a rundown on what's actually possible deep into the world of ecom and hopefully inspire a few of you to do the same. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Remember to check out some other videos I have if you want to learn more, and I'll see you in the next one.